Day 1. I moved into my new mountain house full of hope, picturing long afternoons on the porch and silent nights where the only thing keeping me up was the wind in the pines. Instead, before I'd even put down my bags, there she was, Marcia Delroy, the self-crowned president of the Elk Ridge Preservation HOA, standing on my steps and calling the sheriff. Not 5 minutes into my new life, and she was telling me this house wasn't really mine, that some piece of paper taped to my door meant more than the deed in my hand. That first sunset at Elk Ridge, the cabin looked stubborn, worn, but standing tall as if refusing to let the mountains swallow it. But the fresh notice on my door didn't match the story. Temporary stewardship. Order. It read bold letters, daring me to disagree. I checked my documents again. Clean no, HOA, no encumbrances, nothing but my name and a dream. Still, Marcia stood at the bottom step, gloves on smile, fixed like armor, introducing herself as if she'd been waiting for me all her life. She spun her tale all about heritage and stewardship, acting like she was saving the valley from neglect, like I was a threat to everything decent. When I insisted I owned the place, she leaned in and explained in the most syrupy, condescending tone imaginable that I couldn't move in just yet. Preservation law, stewardship review, occupancy freeze, her words felt like brick walls, not explanations. When I brushed past her and stepped inside, she called the sheriff on the spot. Sheriff Dalton, unauthorized entry, she announced, as if reading from a script. Sheriff Dalton rolled up just as the last light vanished behind the ridge, a tired man who'd seen one too many feuds out here. He read the deed, glanced at Marcia's order, then told us both to document everything and let the courts decide if it came to that. That should have been the end of it. But trouble, I learned, comes in waves, not storms. Next morning, it was a deputy at the door, clipboard ready. Then another. Noise complaint, woodpile complaint, heating complaint, each visit as hollow and rehearsed as the last. By the end of the first day, 6 different officers had stopped by, all with the same uncomfortable look in their eyes, all hinting that Marcia's word meant more than the law itself up here. After a couple of days, the pattern set in. The white SUV cruising by, volunteers with phones snapping photos of my plates. New violation notices posted for unauthorized woodpile placement or some other nonsense. Every time I opened the door, I could feel them watching, whispering, waiting for me to break. 4th morning, I stepped outside and spotted someone leaning on my fence. Tessa Crane, a rancher I'd met once at the store, quiet but sturdy as bedrock. She told me flat out I wasn't the first. 3 families before me all run out the same way: paperwork, complaints, patrols, pressure, until they sold out cheap and left. Marcia or someone close to her would scoop up the property. The realization stung like the snap of cold wind down the back of my neck. That night, I started collecting every notice, every slip, every call. The numbers lined up, each violation referenced caretaker application, 14D. A little digging on the county portal, and there it was. Marcia's application filed before my sale even closed. The same appraiser, Neil Carver, popping up again and again, always tied to properties that ended up under HOA care and then in the hands of his investment company. This was no mistake. It was a machine. No more playing defense. I cataloged every bogus inspection, every violation, every unwanted compliance walkthrough. Marcia and her volunteers kept pushing more cameras, more anonymous notices, more thinly veiled threats. "Careful, Mr. Harrington." She'd say, her voice honeyed and sharp as glass. "Resistance has consequences." I threw it right back. "So does fraud." Took it all to Evan Blake in Denver, the kind of lawyer who knows how mountain laws get bent. He barely raised an eyebrow. "They're abusing an old mining law. Nothing in it for houses, certainly not." "When you live there," he said, "you've got the truth on your side, but we'll need more than that." Motions filed with the county, complaints to the state. A civil harassment case for good measure. Marcia's foundation started to crack. Marcia tried to flip the script, calling an emergency meeting at the town hall, painting herself as the protector, me as the outsider villain. "He's weaponizing the county," she said, her voice trembling for effect. But then Tessa stood up and called her out, clear and steady. "Every violation started after I moved in, not a day before, and everyone knew it." The room shifted. The sheriff strode in, county order in hand, caretaker claim revoked, full investigation pending. Marcia's mask slipped, her support melting away. Carver slipped out the back. It was over and everyone in the room could feel it. By morning, the last of the paperwork landed. Caretaker claim permanently revoked. State Real Estate Commission reviewing all transactions. Marcia barreled up, my drive folder in hand, desperate to claw back her power. You think you've won? She spat, eyes wild, voice ragged. I just stood my ground. No, I just stopped you. Her lawyer dropped her. Carver cut ties. With nothing left, she handed me a notice and disappeared. Weeks passed. The HOA dissolved, the sheriff finally nodding at me with real respect. Neighbors coming by to apologize, to tell their own stories. Tessa said, "You changed things up here. No one ever stood their ground before." But all I did was hold them to their own rules. The state froze Carver's account, started probing every dirty deal. Marcia faced civil penalties and a public audit. She'll never run another HOA, not here, not anywhere. 1 month later, I hung my deed in the living room, planted 3 young aspens near the porch where her notices once clung. The air was different, clear, honest, earned. For the first time, I wasn't defending or proving anything. This was home. The land felt rooted, not threatened. Justice wasn't some grand finale. It was the everyday truth that finally stuck around. Some homes aren't taken, they're defended. And justice? Sometimes it doesn't show up with sirens and a judge. Sometimes it's just a quiet morning, no patrol cars, no HOA, no threats, just peace. Now maybe the biggest question is this. When does neighborly concern become intimidation? Where's the line between rules and harassment? Ever had to stand your ground when someone tried to write their power over your life? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own stories of justice, of holding the line, or what you think real community looks like. And if you found a piece of truth or grit in this story, stick around. There's a whole lot more where that came from.